Hi, you are welcome back to TechRems. Today, I'm going to take you through some advanced ERD concepts. We are going to be talking about primary keys, foreign keys, and bridge tables, and I will help you to understand how to use them in modeling your database. So let's start where we left off from our very simple ER diagram from the previous tutorial. If you haven't watched the first part, I suggest you go back and watch that. You can find the link in the description below and come and continue on this one. So we've got entities for customer, order, product, and supplier with their correct cardinalities between them. You will notice that each attribute has the word key beside it. This column is there so that we can distinguish certain attributes as either primary keys or foreign keys. Let's start with primary keys. Assume you have a table of 1,000 plus records or rows. How will you distinguish each row from the other? This is where primary keys come into play. A primary key is an attribute or combination of attributes that uniquely identifies every row in a relation or table. When your key has two or more attributes, it is called a composite key. And you know each entity represents a table in your database. So for this customer table, the primary key is going to be an attribute. That makes it easy so that one customer can be like no other customer in the table. For any of these attributes to qualify as a primary key, it must satisfy the following properties. 1. A primary key must be unique so that it identifies only one record in the table. 2. A primary key must not be changing. You can only keep accurate records of your customers if you use a consistent attribute. And 3. A primary key must never be null. That is, a primary key should not be left blank at any point in time. So, when we look at our customer table, what attribute will uniquely identify each of our customers? Well, we can't rely on name because two different customers will share the same first name and last name. We can't also use the phone number because a customer can change the phone number and primary keys are not to be changing. Also, you can't use the address. You can have more than one customer living in the same address, or a customer can change location and the address changes, and so we can't use it. So that leaves us with customer ID. By design, any sort of ID is assigned by the database management system each time a row is created, and the values never change. So if this customer signs up, he's assigned ID 0011. The next customer signs up and he's 0012, and so on. So let's jump back to our diagram and put PK next to the customer ID to show that that's the primary key in this entity. Now delete all these keys here to clear the table. Now let's apply the same rules in finding the primary keys for the other entity. In the other entity, you should know that order date cannot be the primary key because different orders are received on the same date. So automatically the order ID is our primary key here. As we said earlier that IDs are unique and never change as the DBMS checks that. So let's put PK beside order ID. A quick reminder here, the tool I am using is called LucyChat. You can find the link in the description below. You go to the website, sign up with your email, and then you can start drawing your diagrams. So now we have our primary keys in our entities. Let's talk about foreign keys. A foreign key is actually a primary key located in a foreign place or in a different place. Let's use our diagram. For every order we receive, we want to know the exact customer who placed the order. So we bring the value that identifies each customer uniquely into the order table, and that's customer ID. Even though it is a primary key in customer table, when we place it in the order table, it becomes a foreign key. We put FK beside it. And the reason we place these values into other tables or relations is to represent the relationship between those tables. So primary keys and foreign keys are used to establish the relationship. You can click on and adjust the relationship line to line up with the primary key and the corresponding foreign key. In a relational database, the normal relationship type implemented is one-to-many relationship. So if you have a one-to-many relationship and you want to easily identify how to place your foreign keys, just send the primary key of the one side to the many side. So like this, from customer to ID. Moving on to the other entities. You know by now that product ID becomes our primary key here. Each of these primary keys is unique, never changing and never now. Now between the order and product entities, we have a many-to-many relationship. We mentioned earlier that one-to-many relationship is a normal relationship implemented in a relational database. So this cannot be implemented as such in the relational model. So we have to create another entity. This entity or table is called a bridge entity or a bridge table, sometimes called a linking table. You can name it the way you want. I will name it other details. The two primary keys from the two tables or entities come here as two different foreign keys and also combine to form the primary key for this table. We will also put the other quantity here. The table's primary key will be a composite key of the relations linked. And so now the relationship will be between order and other details entities, which will now be one-to-many. With the cardinalities on this side, we will have one cardinality, and then the cardinalities from here, the product side comes here, that's one or many. Also between the product and other details entities, we'll have one here, and these cardinalities here also comes here, so we bring it here, that's many or one. And I'll name this relationship as half, so that it reads an order can have one or many other details, but an order detail is for only one order. Then name this also belongs, and that will be a product can belong to many other details, and an order detail has only one product for an order. Then delete this relationship, and that's it. We have solved the many-to-many relationship between these two entities. We have many-to-many relationship here also, so we break it with a bridge entity or table. Name it supplier product. The primary keys will come here as foreign keys and also form a composite key as the primary key for the entity. And now the relationship will be between the supplier to the bridge entity. This side will be 1 as we saw earlier, and then here will be the cardinalities it has over here, so we'll bring it here. And the product entity to the bridge entity, this will be 1 and here will be many or one from this side. We'll name this relationship supplies, and this one also as supplied. Delete this relationship. And now we have our simple database structure modeled. When you are done, you can export it to any file type you want by clicking on the file type here. Go to export and select the file type you want to export it as. Then click on download and your file gets downloaded. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. See you in the next video.